All right, a 5-game homestand starts with a victory over the Philadelphia Flyers 3-2. It got a little bit interesting. The Flyers took the lead, but the Avalanche, they got it back. And John Tortorella and his infinite wisdom pulls the goalie with 4 minutes to go, but it made it interesting. So a lot to talk about with this game. We're going to make it through. Kyle's got 3 sick kids on his hand, his son, his daughter, and me. New episode of Locked On Avalanche coming at you.
You're Locked On Avalanche, your daily podcast on the Colorado Avalanche. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, so Mitch Marner's point streak continuing, whatever. Alex Ovechkin with a hat trick to get 800. Old news. The Colorado Avalanche beating the Philadelphia Flyers 3-2. Now that's the news that we need, baby. Welcome to the Locked On Avalanche podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I am your host, Chris Maselli. With me, as always, Mr. Shaggy Von Doom, Kyle Sullivan. Thank you for making this your first listen of the day. That's always appreciated. You can follow us on our social media outlets, LOPN_Avalanche on Twitter, Locked On Avalanche on Instagram. Questions, comments, concerns, opinions, lockedonavalanche@gmail.com. And follow us on our YouTube channel over on YouTube. Hit subscribe, get notified when a new show goes live. Yeah, we're starting to feel like the little bit of the under the wet. I think both of us got it from like our kids. So and stupid me does not have any like liquid like water or anything next to me. So I'm just gonna you're the smarter one, clearly. So we'll make it through. We'll make it through. Yeah. Avalanche with a 3-2 victory over the Philadelphia Flyers. It got a little interesting towards the end, but I thought this was with the team that the Avs have. I thought this was their best game.
Yes,
it was. In the first they. Let me see who was. There goes my stuff. Okay, Cam York scored the first one for Philadelphia. But I thought the Avs had a pretty decent first, and then you could tell at the changes that they made. It was just, we're just going to fire pucks on net. We got to move the puck around quickly, just fire, and good things will happen. It's that old saying in hockey: good things happen when you fire at the net, and it did for the Avs. They get a nice shorthanded goal from Arturi Lehkonen, and then Tortorella decides to pull the goalie with 4 minutes. They do get a goal. But then the Avs really just clamp down and shut down and win the thing 3-2. So your overall thoughts on the game?
I absolutely love this game so much more than I did the St. Louis game. The St. Louis game was great. Mikko put on a show. We got back to our winning ways. You beat Bennington. This is what you want to see. This is everybody not named Mikko Rantanen or Cale Makar. This is your depth stepping up. And this is what you want. Mm-hmm. And you avenge a 5-3 loss against Philly just a couple weeks ago. This is what you want. And statistically, some things could be cleaned up. But when you see, like Hudon almost had a goal, it hit the post.
Mm-hmm.
That's clicking. That line's clicking. There's a lot. And hey, Frankie looked really, really good.
That was a little surprising that he got the start. I think you just assume that he's just in there to spell. Blanking on his name already.
Oh, yeah,
Georgiev. Sorry.
Yeah, giving him a couple days. And
and I think it's and Bednar was saying like, no, I felt like Frankie had a good game, and you ride the hot hand. I'm not saying he's got the hot hand where he's like playing day in and day out, like out of his mind, but it was good enough for him to get another start. And I think we're just so used to, Frankie just coming in for that one game and then Georgiev going back out there for 2 or 3, 4 games at the most. And then Frankie coming in again. And then Georgiev, just that normal. But that's what I love about Bednar is you just, what you think is going to happen doesn't. And he's just like, no, I like the way that Frankie played against St. Louis. I'm going to continue that and see if he can do it again. And I think he definitely did.
And Bednar riding the hot hand, and yet Georgiev is sitting in the locker room and he's becoming that meme Like he's just like zoning off and CCR is playing like Fortunate Son. He's having
Yeah.
flashbacks like, oh gosh, am I losing the start? Am I
No.
about to go backing up? It's
No.
one of those, I say that kind of like tongue in cheek, but it's good we talked about both goalies kind of being at the same level. Maybe this raises the play of Georgiev a little bit because we got some interesting games coming up. So if you see every aspect of the Avalanche starting to step up a little bit and play more like we're accustomed to, I mean, it's all wins
Yeah.
for us.
Coaches do this. This is not like new or anything. And I always remember when Henrik Lundqvist, this happened to him. And this was long before Shesterkin or even Georgiev was there.
Yeah.
Neither one of those guys were on the team. God, I wish I could remember who the backup was when this happened. But
Weeksy?
No, it was after that. I don't know. I'll have to look it up. I wasn't planning on talking about it, so I didn't even look it up. But he sat for a string of games, and they asked him, "Are you okay with this?" He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "I want to win. Like this was, I want to win." He's playing well. That's what you do. I mean, he took the high road. He's not going to sit there and complain about it. But things got back to normal. Whoever that was replacing him started to kind of fall back, and then you throw one of the greatest goalies ever back in. It's not like he lost his spot.
Yeah.
And I'm not anywhere near that right now. But does Frankie go for 3 in a row against Buffalo? We'll have to see that. I don't think they don't want to flip this and make Georgiev sit so many games.
Yeah.
So we'll see. If they do, I think that's it. I think 3 in a row for Frankie is the max that you're going to get from him, unless he pitches a shutout against a very good offensive Buffalo Sabres team. So that'll be kind of interesting to see which way Bednar goes, because like you said, he is quote unquote riding the hot hand. And is 2 games a hot hand? No, but you can pull a lot out of those 2 games and say like, yeah, he's playing well. Do we continue to put him out there?
In the words of the wise prophet Ace Ventura, 3's too much.
Early on in this game, I was kind of upset because I didn't think, and I don't get on the refs too much, but there was some missed calls out there, and one kind of really annoyed me. They didn't call a slash on against Foodie. Not on on Philadelphia for slashing Foodie.
Yeah.
And no call was made, and then maybe 30 seconds later, 30 seconds later, but it was following a face-off, the Flyers did score. And they should not even have scored that, because they should have been killing a penalty.
Yeah.
So that kind of like annoyed me, and the Avalanche didn't score in the first. And I wasn't sitting there thinking like, if that's the call that like loses this game, I had pretty good confidence that the Avs were going to at least get some goals in this game. And of course they did with the 3, which is, goals have been a little bit tough to come by for the Avs. You got the hat trick from Rantanen, but like you're saying, like from those depth guys, they've been a little bit more like, you're not getting that 4, 5, 6 goal output. Not that happens on the norm for the Avalanche, but that they are capable of game in and game out. They have to manage the game differently right now, because you have that top line that can produce. And I'm telling you, man, like I am really, really happy with how JT Compher has been playing lately.
I am too.
And I don't, even before that 4-point game he had, he was still getting like a point here and there, with an assist here and there. But he has been playing, as far as points wise goes, he's putting points up on the stat sheet. Outside of that, he's just playing good hockey. He's playing, JT Compher is playing 200-foot hockey right now. What dimension are we in? This is good stuff.
And this is why I get on him so much, because he's capable of this. Like, this is what he can do, and you need and you mentioned like the depth scoring and how scoring is not at a premium right now, when other teams in the league right now are hitting 7, 8, 9, and the team about to come into Ball Arena has been scoring at will. Buffalo scored 6 goals in the 3rd period.
Wow.
Yeah, we have to we got Mikko showing off. We have the depth showing off. We need to blend the two and get the entire team scoring at will, because Buffalo coming in is going to be an ultimate test. Whether it's Georgiev or Frankie in net, there has to be some elevation and unification of what the Avs are putting together.
Yeah. Yeah, that's going to be a fun game to watch.
Oh.
All right, let's hear from BetOnline, and then we got some more to talk about with this game, and of course, a sound check to get to. But first, this episode is brought to you by BetOnline.net. It's your number one source for sports betting info, stats, news, and analysis. Get the latest odds and trends for every professional or amateur league out there, from pro football to college, to the college bowl season, to basketball, and of course the World Cup. We've got it all at betonline.net. They had some odds up for Alex Ovechkin. If you bet him getting, that 800th goal last night, which would have, he would have had to get a hat trick, which he did. I mean, what fashion to get your 800th goal? Come on. And you could have won a pretty penny if you put some money down on BetOnline on that one. That was a nice prop bet that they had.
Yeah, you could have walked away with a nice Christmas.
Oh my God. Yeah. So if you love sports podcasts, and who doesn't, you can even find those at BetOnline as well. We're always the fastest and easiest to get your betting info. So head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more. That is betonline.net, and it's where the game starts. All right. I thought it was a little bit interesting. You look at some stats here. Time on ice. Jacob McDonald, 4 minutes and 24 seconds of ice time. And I checked after the first period. He had exactly 1 minute of ice time after the first period. So what's going on there? I don't know if he's in. I don't think he's played so bad. I mean, he's usually on that fourth line right now. He's not playing a defensive pairing. He hasn't played a defensive pairing in a little while, but he's on that fourth line, and maybe Bednar just doesn't. Maybe he likes his defensive game better than his offensive game, so he's really was running with 11 instead of 12 forwards last night. I don't know. I and we're recording this right after the game, so I don't know if he was asked the question in the press conference after the game. I'll go back and watch and listen to that, but I'm interested to know why he wasn't rolling him out there.
And he also was rolling Dryden Hunt as a seasonal employee too. Dryden Hunt was sitting on 348 when it comes to time.
Less. Wow.
So it's when we talk about the play of certain lines and the cohesion getting together, I don't know why and the game it had towards the end, it got close, but that second period, it was kind of blown wide open. So why not give them more of a chance to keep rolling? I don't know what's going on there. And like you said, we're right after the game is over. So I'm not sure what's going to break either in the morning or when this episode's released or in the afternoon. But Dryden Hunt and McDonald, to see their minutes that short with injuries the way it is right now with the Avalanche, you need to get something together. So barring injury, there really shouldn't be a reason for you to get under 5 minutes.
Yeah. Kind of interesting why. Like I said, I want to hear if he says anything about it. Face-offs, as were 50-50, exactly 50-50.
That's a win.
That is a win. The power play continues to struggle. So what's going on?
Easy. You're getting production. You're getting guys stepping up, showing out, but the power play is just not cohesive right now. There's a lot of good passing, and these teams, the teams are scouted. Like Philly, we've played Philly before. They know what to do. They know how to clean it up. They know how to shore it up, and just put a couple guys, cheat them towards Makar, a couple guys towards Rantanen, deal with the rest. I think the power play is trying to figure itself out while we're trying to figure it out. So it's one of those parts of the year where it's just not cohesive.
It's just a chore. It's a chore to do anything on the power play right now. It's a chore to get it into the zone clean. The one time I saw them, they threw the drop back pass, but there was a second person back there with him. Whoever, I think it was, God, I wish I could remember who it was. Whoever, there was two guys they had two options basically on the drop back pass. So that was the cleanest zone entry that they had. And when they did it, I almost like jumped out of my seat and like celebrated like it was a goal.
Yeah.
And I'm like, do more of that. Because there's the one, if you don't have Nathan MacKinnon back there, the one-man drop back pass is struggling. So they did it once where they had two, and Philly didn't know if that guy was going to carry it in. He could pass it off. You have more options when you're doing that. So other than that, it's a struggle to get into the zone. They did have some good, I guess they had some good looks, but a lot of it is just perimeter passing. A lot of it is just standing around. There's not a lot of movement. And when it's okay to do that standing around when you have skilled players like, Nathan MacKinnon out there. And you do have skilled players. I mean, you have Cale Makar, you have obviously Mikko Rantanen, Nichushkin's on there now. But I just don't like how they're kind of stagnant. You're making it easy for the defense. The defense doesn't have to move that much. They just stay in their little triangle or their diamond, and they just have to move a little bit to the left and right, and they're in a shooting lane. It's not that difficult for a defense. So it's a whole nother world. I mean, look at the difference that it's making right now with Nathan MacKinnon not being there. Yeah. Not that he's scoring every single time on the power play. But he just, when he gets that puck on his stick, you see defenders just kind of like taking really short steps with their skates because they don't know what he's going to do. They don't have that right now, even with Cale Makar and Mikko Rantanen. I love Mikko Rantanen, but he doesn't have that. He doesn't strike fear in you like Nathan MacKinnon does, specifically on a power play. So they're really, really missing him right now.
Yeah, and that's exactly what's going wrong with the power play right now. Nobody's there to command it, and everybody's waiting on someone to command it. That's why everybody's just kind of standing around. Nobody's orchestrating how things go. You're just kind of passing around, finding something open. It's the most basic vanilla power play you can have right now.
It really is, and they've fallen from number one. They're down to number two. I don't know if going 0 for 3 drops them to number 3. I mean, it's hurting right now because of one Nathan MacKinnon, and yeah, he makes a world of difference. So, I not that this means anything, but the Avs got outshot in this game, and for that second period that they had when they came out firing, and I don't think Philadelphia had a shot on goal until halfway through the second period. For the second period, they didn't have a shot on goal in the second period until about halfway through it. They only had 4 shots on goal in the second. Talking about Philadelphia. Philadelphia only had 8 in the first, but then they had 16. Yeah, you're losing, and you're going to kind of like up your game and throw a little bit more shots on net. But it kind of surprised me that the Flyers kind of overtook the Avalanche in shots on goal. So it's a little bit scary when you see that, because you kind of want to clamp down on defense when you're up 3-1. And then let's see, hits. Flyers are always going to out hit you. They out hit the Avs 29-20. You're not going to really compete with them in terms of the physical nature of their game. That is the one of the biggest aspects of their game. It's almost like scoring goals is secondary. Let's try to beat you up as much as we can. That's just a John Tortorella team.
And those two stats, honestly, I think there were instances in the games those two stats worked together, because you mentioned it as showing up on the power play, but the Avs could not get out of their zone on multiple occasions of 5-on-5 even strength. And that physicality pinning the Avs in their own D zone and giving Philly easy shots if they did garner control of the puck. I feel like those two stats work together in those moments. There were a lot of issues getting out of our zone.
Yeah, there were. But there were times where I liked what the Avalanche were doing, like especially with these young guys, getting like this full head of steam and kind of getting in through the neutral zone, getting into 5-on-5. I thought they were great. 5-on-5 on power play. Obviously they struggled, but I thought overall I was happy with the 5-on-5 games for the Avs. So why don't we do our sound check, and then we'll kind of talk about like the individual players who we kind of liked. But yeah, let's get to our Locked On Avalanche sound check. This is where Kyle and I will pick a song that we feel best summarizes the most recent game. You can follow this playlist over on Spotify. Just search LOA Soundcheck, and this is volume number 2. Obviously, volume number 1 is still up there. If you want to follow that one as well, feel free. All right, what do you got, sir? And if you're watching on YouTube, we're gonna throw the album arts up from now on for these songs, or the albums of the songs, so you guys kind of know what to look for. If you want to go check the album out, go ahead. What do you got?
This one has nothing to do with our extremely low tone of voice and our sickness.
I would have done a Barry White song if that's
yeah, true. I went with Johnny Cash, One Piece at a Time. And it was, now you have Val back, you have Lehkonen back, and his last game was his kind of catch up to speed with the rest of the team, and then he showed out last night. So you're getting the team back one piece at a time. Erod's out there floating around, about to return, and you see, adding one piece at a time, this team is starting to feel like the old Avalanche.
Yeah. I was thinking at the beginning of the day, is this going to be the third game in a row where we get a third player back?
Yeah.
You know, we got Nichushkin back, and then the next game we got Lehkonen back, and then you're hearing grumblings of Erod coming back, or even Helm maybe around the corner. They did say something about Helm. Not that he's had a setback, but it's just taking longer than they thought it would. It's not progressing. Whatever the injury is, it's not getting better as quickly as they were hoping. So, and I think Peter Ball put that up, and he says nothing against how Helm is working.
Yeah.
It's just, for whatever it is, it's a slow healing injury. So yeah, man, that's a perfect song title. It literally feels that way right now. Like the pieces of the puzzle are slowly coming back together.
And we're streaking in the right direction.
Yeah.
So,
and I kind of went off of that kind of theme for mine as well. I went with a Matchbox 20 song, and the name of the song is How Far We've Come. And that's kind of, you know, it's more of, yeah, you could put this towards the whole team, sure, but more towards these AHL guys and these prospects. Seriously, like look at the difference, and they are driving plays, and they're creating chances, and they're on the power play, they're on the second unit power play, and they're killing penalties. Like, they're doing everything that a pro is expected to do, and they had to grow up fast.
Yeah,
I mean, they knew that they were going to be there for a while, and you're not going to get any excuses. You're not going to have any moral victories. And they are starting to come into their own and be part of this team, and you love to see that. So they have come a long way. So that's what I'm going with Matchbox 20. How far we've come.
Yeah, I can't wait to have the February conversations when we're talking about, I miss what Foodie would bring in Hudon and England. Like when we hit a little bit of a low patch, we're going to be looking back fondly at the Eagles that helped us out.
Yeah. So there you go. There's the two songs for today. Go check those out on Spotify. Like I said, Soundcheck, LOA Soundcheck, Volume 2. I want to keep with Foodie for a minute, because this dude is playing so well, and he, like, whatever, the points will come. The stat sheet will get filled up eventually, but just the confidence in this guy now.
Yeah.
I mean, we were saying the other day, could he have carved himself out a role on this team? I think for now, kind of how we were talking about the goalie situation with Georgiev and Frankie, and you ride the hot hand with Frankie, it's almost like you do the same thing with Foodie. Yeah. I don't know what the rest of the season will bring. Can you expect someone that young to really continue to play that way? Who the heck knows? But I don't think you send him down at all. And maybe if he starts to slide in like a month or so, but I would really love to see, like, when you get everybody back, when you get everybody healthy, You can't tell me this kid can't make a dent on the fourth line for this team.
And see, the way you're talking about Foodie, like he's standing out, and it's starting to rub off on Hulan a little bit. And I feel like putting both of those guys on the fourth line is almost going to be hard to say no to. The more they learn and grow, and then the points start coming with both of them because they play off each other so well.
Mm.
They're almost like the Bash brothers, and they just have this really good synergy. I love Foodie, his confidence. It feels like this is his second year with the team. Like he just fits, and he's got his role, and I love what he's bringing. And like Hudon when he came up, like they play well with each other. I honestly, when everybody comes back healthy, that should be two of your pieces on the fourth line.
If someone, because I don't watch a ton of Eagles games, if someone in the comments does, let me know. Like, do they play in a line together when they're on the Eagles? I don't know if they do. I would venture to guess. I mean, they're two of the top scorers this year for them, so maybe they do. I don't know.
Yeah, I like the way they play and just how they kind of are challenging each other, and they kind of know where everybody is. I just like how they play together. So
yeah,
it would make sense.
Very much agreed. And I want to go back to JT Compher, obviously. And we talked about how he's playing so much better. That pass that he put on right on the tape to Devon Toews, which I think that was their first goal of the night, I believe, right? Yeah. Because the second goal was the Lehkonen shorthanded goal, and then Compher himself got the third one. But that pass was just a thing of beauty.
Yeah.
And if Connor McDavid made that pass, we would be just going crazy right now.
Yeah.
On social media, it'd be the number one play on NHL Tonight. Like that would be the most unbelievable play we've ever seen in the history of hockey. But JT Compher does it, and two guys doing a podcast are the ones that have to kind of like talk about how amazing that was, and all the people on social media who follow. Like that was just incredible. That was an incredible pass, backhand, right on a save. And then the goal by Toews was no easy task either. He kind of went 5-hole on the goalie. That whole play just had to happen perfectly, and they pulled it off to perfection.
And it's honestly, it's JT's confidence coupled with his talent, and both of those working well. Like he was part of the game. It felt like he was on the ice all 60 minutes. Like he was everywhere. He was winning faceoffs. He was a very visible member of the Avalanche, and you absolutely love to see it. And I say this when he had his 4-point game. I'll say this now. Build on it. Continue it. Because I would love this JT Compher to be part of the team for the rest of the year.
I mean, if he continues this when everybody comes back, like, that's what you want.
Yep.
I thought Sam Girard had a really good game. I thought he was skating. I mean, it's Philly, but hey, Philly's a pro team. He was just skating circles around people.
Yep.
And just easily getting away from it. Like whenever there was traffic or pressure, he would just easily just skate in the opposite direction, like do a nice like spin move, the La Tournade, which he's so famous for. Like I thought he had a great game with the puck. He had a couple shots on, well, I don't know if they went on goal. I mean, he only had one shot on goal, but he fired a couple, and they're almost like not to really score, but just to fire it on net and see what happens. But I thought he played a very solid, sound game, didn't try to do too much. And they've been pairing him with Cale Makar on that top pairing. So it's almost like I'm going to let Makar do all of the, the heavy lifting. I just have to not let anybody get behind me, have good exits, get into the zone, just do like the basic things. And I thought that was one of his better games. And like I said, skating with the puck, he seemed pretty confident in doing that. So I thought Sam Girard had a pretty good game.
And you nailed it right there. That's what it is. Sam, he's starting to get his confidence back, and he's starting to feel his role. And being up there with Makar kind of solidifies that confidence. Like, okay, they believe in me. They know where I need to be. They trust me enough to be here with Cale Makar. And you can see that in his skating, trying to make some plays, cutting through defenders. Like he's starting to get his confidence back, and you might see a goal or two come out of that confidence if you're not getting it anywhere else. He's starting to get that confidence where he could take over if he has to.
Yeah. And in saying that, he's pairing with Cale Makar, and it's not for a lack of trying. Cale Makar is always going to give you 110%. I just wish he could find different ways to kind of light up the stat sheet. Like all these guys were going out. It was like, okay, well, it's got to be Mikko and Cale. And points wise, Mikko doing just fine. And yeah, Cale is a defender, but we can't now say, well, where's the offense? Like he's been an offensive defenseman his entire career. He's a great defenseman. He continues to do that. But when all these guys are out, you wanted him to just be like, all right, I as far as, getting pucks in the net or finding guys, to facilitate that way. I think he's kind of like struggled a little bit. And like I said, it's not for lack of trying. But I'm wanting him to find some rhythm to kind of get some more pucks in the net, whether it's him or by the assist route.
And you have to look at it. Like I was thinking the same thing. I would love to see him tally something on the score sheet a little bit more, but it was easy for him to do that when a team is facing the Avalanche and they have to guard Nathan McKinnon, Gabe Landeskog, Mikko Rantanen,
right,
and you have Toews. You have to play 5-on-5. Now you basically are playing 5-on-2.5, 5-on-3. Like if you isolate Mikko and Cale, you could clean up the rest. And I feel like Cale has to find a way to get above being doubled up or being the focus of defensive pressure. And when he figures that out, by that time Nathan McKinnon will be back and he doesn't have to worry about it anymore.
I mean, since the game at Boston, well, let's just go from the beginning of the month. So the December 1, they played in Buffalo. He had 2 assists that game. Since then, he's had 2 assists total. So for the month of December so far, he's got 4 assists in 2, 4, 6, 7 games played. So he's usually up around a point per game guy. So he's fallen off a little bit, and like you said, it's a lot more pressure, and it's not saying he can't handle it. It's just how the other team is scheming for you. They're going to zero in on guys like Cale Makar and Mikko Rantanen. So I just kind of want to see him kind of lift everybody else up and just kind of find other ways to facilitate. I know I'm sitting here saying that it's easier said than done, but we'll see. I think Boston's got a shot because Boston is Buffalo.
Okay.
Buffalo is a like I said, an offensive team. Defensively, they are lacking, and goalies, they are severely lacking.
Yeah.
So if he wants a game where he can, pad some stats, like I said, last time they played him, he had 2 assists. I think watch out for Cale Makar because he's looking at this and he's like, I have to pick up the scoring a little bit more to help these guys out, and this could be the game where he does it.
Yeah,
so we'll see.
That goes from top line to the bottom. If you're getting 5 minutes or 25 minutes, you could score in Buffalo. You've got to get it together.
You can. So we will talk about that in a couple days, but for now, we should be back tomorrow as long as we don't get any more sicker than we are right now. We will see. I know we want to be.
Yeah.
So I guess we're going to have to be in limbo right now. But if we are, we'll have all the latest what's going on with the Colorado Avalanche. But for now, thank you for making this your first listen of the day. That's always appreciated. And make sure to check us out on our socials and go to Spotify and follow the playlist. Until next time, he is Mr. Shaggy Von Doom, Kyle Sullivan. I am Chris Maselli. This is the Locked On Avalanche podcast. And we'll see you guys maybe tomorrow.